screen, just so we remember it is Thanksgiving week. And I have been waiting for this because, as I told you, I get an overdose of family time, which simply excites me. So, on my way out of New Jersey this morning, in such a hustle and bustle to get on that flight before everybody else starts clamoring, what do? Break a nail. Yeah, not just any break a nail, just rip the whole thing off, left that at home. But now here I am in sunny Florida, wishing you and your family a happy and blessed Thanksgiving. You're watching Living Life Authentically with yours truly, and we are brought to you courtesy of Diageo North America. Remember, Drink IQ is all about drinking responsibility. So, our sponsor for the Living Life Authentically fall season is Diageo North America. We thank you. So, as we get ready for Thanksgiving, we want to remind you that we are supporting Center for Food Action this year, helping to raise a table of thanks in a spirit of giving. So, remember, join us as we donate dollars to Center for Food Action so they can help to put food on tables of those in need. Feel free to visit our website, check us out on our social media posts, and of course, we'll share the link again with you so you can visit. Donate. Help us to support Center for Food Action. And well, yeah, it's that time of year again. And we're getting ready for our annual fundraiser and toy drive. We invite you to join us at the Capitol Grill, our usual sponsors, along with Diageo North America. And I'm going to put that back up again for those of you who are scanning the barcode, or if you need the link is twww.holiday2023.eventbrite.com. Thank you, Diageo, and thank you to Capitol Grill. That's Sunday, December 3rd at 3 p.m. So today we have yet another magnificent guest joining us, and I cannot wait to share her with you. She is the Director of Business Development for Trade and Prosper. Trade and Prosper is a social enterprise that supports businesses who focus on creating ethical and locally sourced products. They're also known in the marketplace as makers. Louise is also the co-owner of Cooper's Daughter Spirits, a craft distillery that produces small batch spirits in Hudson Valley, New York. Help me welcome our guest today, ladies and gentlemen, none other than Louise Newsom.
Hi, Natalie.
How are you, Louise? Welcome to the Whole Woman. Welcome to Living Life Authentically.
Well, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm excited to chat with you today.
I am so excited. I cannot wait to hear all about that you do. But I hear that lovely tilt and accent that helps me. I can't help but ask, where are you from and where is that beautiful accent from?
Well, the accent is from Liverpool, England. That's where I was born and raised, and it never left. I've been here a very long time, and I mean, it's a little softer. It's not, if you know a Liverpool accent, it
Yep.
can be quite strong. So, yeah, but I still have my British accent.
Love it. Now, how much time did you spend in England? Did you go to school in England? Or were you raised here in America?
No, I was raised in the UK. So I went right through all of my schooling in the UK. So elementary school, middle school, high school, and then on to university in Birmingham. And I did my degree there. And then after that, that's when I came to the States.
So, what was it like growing up in Liverpool? Tell me about your family. Do you have siblings? Was it a extended family home? Or tell us what it was like growing up in Liverpool and what your interests were as a young girl.
Oh, I absolutely loved growing up in Liverpool. I really, really did. It's a great city, and it's still a great city, and I love to go back. I feel like I'm somebody that's like kind of stuck between two worlds, two continents, I home and home. They're both homes, America and the UK. I'm sure you understand that, Natalie, right? Coming from
Very well, very, very well.
so, it was, I grew up with a brother who was 2.5 years younger than me, who I tortured really well. But he loves me still, which is great. So we're very, very close. And my mum and dad. And, it's interesting. I look back on my childhood and it felt very charmed in a lot of ways. It was, we were, able to go around the neighborhood on our bikes and go visit friends. And I had a lot of very close friends all around me and family. My grandmother, the mother of my father, was really the matriarch of the family as I was growing up. And she insisted that every Saturday afternoon that we had to go over to her house for afternoon tea. And when I got to be a teenager, that was a bit of a problem because, of course, the friends were calling and, it'd have to be pulled away. But she was adamant about it. And, it's something that's stayed with me, that was such a special time because, that those elders all left and the family shrunk, over time because of that.
I have to admit, something I remember very vividly is having tea with my mother. And it's interesting how we take it for granted while we're doing it, or we think it's so torturous. And then it's no longer there. And you're thinking, oh, wow, that'd be lovely to do again.
Exactly. And, and she really nurtured all of the children, the grandchildren's creative side. I mean, she kind of demanded on special occasions like the holidays that the kids had to put on some kind of performance. So we would have to do, plays, or we'd do comedy, or we'd sing some songs. I don't know. We did all this stuff. And of course, I grew up with mostly boys. So of course I was like the bossy girl who was like the ringleader and telling everybody what to do.
I love it. It sounds like we were living, dual lives on two different coasts, because that sounds exactly like family time and holidays in my family in Jamaica. We had our own skits and pantomime that we did at home. But then when you have 12 siblings, you have a football team, you have a whole theater.
Oh my goodness. Absolutely, you do.
So, Louise, let's talk a little bit about this creative side. How did that influence what you ended up studying and what you now do in life? And how did you end up in America?
Oh, well, so coming to America was really, I had a couple of girlfriends from Liverpool who were in the States already. They were in Los Angeles on the West Coast. So I'd finished my degree, and they, of course, were on the phone saying how fabulous it was and what a wonderful time they were having in the sun. As I was looking at the gray sky out the window in Liverpool, and they were like, you should come. So I begged my parents. I begged them. And I think, it's interesting how things work out, because I would never thought in a million years that I would have left, actually. I mean, I really was connected to my roots there. And I still am. And it's interesting because, it's been 35 years and it doesn't go away. And I still are connected to those, obviously my family and those friends. Well, we're 50 odd years in of friendships. And of course, social media and all the WhatsApps and everything now, it just makes it
easy.
better. Yeah, exactly. So, so I ended up staying because I actually met my now ex-husband there. And so that kind of took me on a path which was unexpected. And he was English, which was the other thing, which was kind of ironic and funny that I met a Brit all the way to Los Angeles to meet a Brit.
4 miles away.
So, but my girlfriends went back. And so, of course, my mother really didn't ever forgive them because I was the one that stayed. But I go back a lot, and I have, my kids really spent a lot of time in the UK, and, it's very important for me to go there and feel connected.
Wonderful. So tell me about your university studies and how that influenced the work you did while living here in America and what you do today.
Right. So it's funny because, my mother had big hopes for me for becoming a pharmacist, which kind of makes me laugh because of just what I don't know. She thought it was a really great job for a woman. She was like, yes, and you can have children and you can leave and then you can go back and be a locum and step in and out, which kind of actually she wasn't wrong, but that was not my forte and not my trajectory. I was seeing myself as a creative person, as somebody who wants to paint and draw and get my hands dirty. And, so I ended up going to art school. And now in the UK, I could go to art school when I was 16 and sort of continue my education through there. So I went to art school from the age of 16 until the age of 21. So I studied every form of the arts, fine art, sculpture, printmaking, textiles, fashion, graphics. And during those first 2 years, you decide what's your focus. So my focus became textiles. And it was fashion and textiles. That's how it was grouped together. But actually, fashion wasn't really the area that I focused on in the textiles. It was more interiors that I was interested in.
Now that's exciting. So tell me about the work that you did and how that training parlayed into a career that you did here in the US.
You know, it's interesting. I think about my career path, and I've done a lot of things, but there is a connection all along the way of where my focus has been, and it's moved away from my hands being in the paint pot and more about using my brain, and then and also sort of becoming someone that wants to represent other creatives, people who are in the creative field. So, so there was this journey when I came to the States of working with a textile company when I was living in Los Angeles, doing wall murals at that time. I mean, I was 21, 22, young woman. But when I came to New York in 1993, I continued to work with the textile company, and I ended up going up to their printing plant to oversee their runs that they were doing, which meant that I specifically had to make sure that all of the quality of printing and the colors that were happening were exactly where they needed to be. Because, of course, when I said okay, they were printing 10,000 yards, 50,000 yards. You didn't want to make a mistake, right? So it was all on me to make sure that that was approved and it was right. So, but that led me also into another space in New York, because what started to happen is my then husband was a restoration contractor, very, very talented guy. And so we got into restoring homes.
Mm.
And so I would take my design skills and sort of put them into sort of creating these spaces with him. So he was the kind of three-dimensional guy, and I was like the textures and the colors person, right? And putting in the materials. And that kind of grew into me doing that for other people. I mean, it really became, and especially color became very specific for me, and very much I got to be known for somebody who was a color consultant, and I could go in and do whole spaces and do exteriors of buildings, and it could be for contractors or homeowners, it was commercial projects or residential projects, because color is very hard to deal with. I mean, a lot of people struggle with those millions of colors that are out there, and they're like, I have no idea what to do.
At the same point, it all starts to look the same. But
Right.
Louise, I want to go back because you mentioned something just kind of offhanded, as if it's no big deal. You did murals and you did something quite significant on the West Coast. Please go back and tell our viewers about that.
Oh yes, that was a wonderful time. So I was involved in a project which people who are listening might very well have seen. It was in Caesar's Palace. Caesar's Palace has a gorgeous shopping mall. So I was involved in that project 1990. I think that's when. No, 1990 was when I was doing it. I remember. So we were a crew of 10, and everything that was above touching level was faux marble. So everything in that mall, and people might not realize that when they walk around it, because all the real marble is at your eye level, and everything kind of above it is faux. And so we were actually off site doing a lot of stuff in Los Angeles that was getting shipped out. Then I worked on site for a bunch of weeks doing project storefronts out there. And I was just there recently. I mean, literally in August. And I was like so surprised at how fabulous it still looks. It
Wow.
looks amazing.
So the next time we all go out to Vegas, we should go take a walk through Caesar's Palace and check out the mural, because one of the contributing artists is sitting right here with us today. That's exciting, Louise. So
Yeah.
here we are, 30 some years later. You're on the East Coast and you're part of Trade and Prosper.
Yeah.
What is Trade and Prosper? Tell us about that.
So Trade and Prosper is a social enterprise slash association supporting artisanal producers. So what is an artisanal producer? And also known as a maker or a crafter, is somebody that is producing products that are handmade or grown. It could be an organic farm making growing very specific things like mushrooms, or it could be somebody that's creating gorgeous jewelry or ceramics or clothing. So, it covers a broad spectrum of people that are in that space. Now, the specific thing about Trade and Prosper at this point in time is that it's very much here in New York. So these businesses are local and are local within the state, not just in New York City or just or around outside of the city, all the way through the state. And Trade and Prosper is supporting those businesses in a couple of ways. One of them is through enabling them to find events and be part of events that enables them to sell their products. Selling, when you're a small business owner, you don't necessarily have retail straight off the bat. Your marketing plan might be to get in front of the consumer and really work your product to understand and be speaking directly to the end user, so you understand how your product feels to them and how, if it's working or not working, and what you might need to adjust. And also, there's great opportunity to earn money here, and also to meet some key players in your industry that takes you on to the next level. So the other pillar that Trade and Prosper does is connects those businesses to organizations, corporations. So corporate gifting. Trade and Prosper has a catalog of beautiful products that these producers are making across the state, if it be olive oils and, chocolates and wonderful things that can be used for events or for gifting. And, it's a wonderful initiative to be able to go out to organizations and say, hey, look at these businesses. They're right here in your backyard. They're making products that are locally and ethically made. And you're supporting that by being part of this initiative and having these businesses be part of your gifting strategy or your event strategy. And the third pillar is the sort of the B2B part, the one that's really supporting the makers through education. I partnered with an organization called Move that's actually in Liverpool. It's one of my very, very dearest friends, best friends in the UK, who is a entrepreneurial coach. And during COVID, her and her partner created this entrepreneurial program. Yeah. And it's there in the UK. But she said to me, Louise, here, take it, white label it, edit it to work for this market and use it. And so I can offer these businesses a very inexpensive way to kind of do some development for themselves that's kind of snappy and quick, because these businesses don't have time. I mean, they are like stretched to the max.
Absolutely.
So to kind of say, here to sit down for a bunch of hours and do all that, it's not going to happen. So it had to be created in a way that it was kind of a quick, refresher, something that got the mind going, really some key points in it for understanding where they were at in the business and where they might need to adjust in their business model to make it work. Because sustaining is the key factor, and it is also the biggest challenge of small business owners.
So, Louise, this is perfect, because one of the things that we do here at The Whole Woman is really create a space for small businesses, especially women-owned businesses, to cooperate, to work together. A perfect example is we have created the Lady Mist collection, and the Lady Mist collection is a candle, hand sanitizer, and a body cream. These are all handmade and made here in the USA. The candle is made by Tiffany Rose over at School Sense. The hand sanitizer is made by Shawanda Vickers over at Shoe Cosmetics. And the body cream is made by Cedar Lewis at Mamacita Buttercream. The fragrance was created by myself and the candle maker. And so we worked with 3 different organizations, 3 different women who normally wouldn't be working together, and created this collection, and it's available for sale. And it sounds to me that you are doing something similar on a much larger scale and giving them some marketing support in the back end.
That's right. Yes. And looking really, proof of concept obviously is what you want to see. So starting here, right in our neighborhood, in our backyard is the appropriate place to be. But there is opportunity with this model for it to expand into many markets across the country and even overseas, because this is a huge population. I mean, I have some statistics here. There's like 38 million Americans who identify themselves as crafters or makers. That's a lot of people now. 60% of those are
30
women.
million?
Yes. Huge. Now, they might not be all small business owners, but they're creatives, right? They're people who have a passion for making products or making things. I mean, it could be on any level. They could be selling it at the school fair, or they could be really developing a business model. 60% of those are women. And, and I see it all the time. There's definitely a lot of women in this space, but then there's more women who are starting small businesses too, right, statistically. So it makes perfect sense across the way. So handcraft markets. So there's a statistic I found online. It was saying that the handcraft market size reached $752 billion in 2022. And they expect a growth in this space from 2023 to 2028 of just over 9%.
Are you trying to tell me that craft making is a multi-billion, tens of billions of dollars? Wait,
well, look at Etsy. Look at Etsy.
Yeah, there you go. Okay.
So, I mean, Etsy, it blew up for a reason because I think that, I mean, COVID definitely, I think, has taken it to another space, or maybe took it, faster pace, because people were losing their jobs or wanting new jobs or wanting to get out of corporate. It was the perfect opportunity for them to do it and start working on something that they feel more passionate about. So often these are passion projects that people do. But the problem is that, like any small business, the success rate, then it just drops off. And yes. So, but then there's more people coming forward. I mean, in colleges now and universities, entrepreneurial programs are the biggest thing growing out of universities. There was never an entrepreneurial program when I was at university.
Yeah, being an entrepreneur was what?
Right, exactly. What was even the word?
It wasn't even a word. You were a business owner, a proprietor.
That's right. So now it's actually a career, and it's a career path. And I think with the way that, the instability of the corporate world has taken those people who are bold enough, because it takes a lot of guts to say, I'm going to do this. I'm going to take this chance and run with this idea and this project and try and get it off the ground.
Now, Louise, how do local crafters, passion, purpose entrepreneurs, how do they get a hold of you? How would they get involved with one of your programs? And exactly what's the process like?
Well, basically, they can they can go to the website and they can fill in that little pop-up that comes up. It's very simple. It's just your email and your name, and then you also can send me an email from there, or you can write to me directly at louise@tradeandprosper.com. I mean, we're a kind of like a tight little group organization, and we're that you'll get me directly and you'll be able to speak to me directly. You're not going to fall into an abyss of a bunch of people. So
that's one for human too.
Yes, yes, you're not going to have that experience. You might get my answer service on the telephone, but you'll get me eventually.
Wow. So tell us how we can stay in touch. Let us have your website, your social media handle, and when next is one of your trade events coming up?
Well, so trade events, let's talk about that first. So we have a bunch of things in the works. So this is kind of the very crazy season right now. Obviously, it's the holidays. So, a lot of these businesses are looking to make their end of year numbers right here in this next 8 weeks, right? And so as far as events happening on the Trade and Prosper side, we just had an event actually up in Geneseo. We Trade and Prosper, when we do our events, we attach ourselves to we're a third party, into a third party. We're not creating something from scratch. So we got invited into a music whiskey festival that was up in Geneseo, that was being hosted by a once quite famous pop star from the 80s. And we did a Trade and Prosper market at the festival. So, which was wonderful. And we used hyperlocal Finger Lake businesses up there. And it was just really lovely and well received. Going forward, there are projects in the works. So Park Avenue does they close off between 34th Street and 40th Street. They're going to be doing it in the spring, and they have a big event there. So Trade and Prosper, working to having a city block, between 34th to 35th, or anywhere down to 40th. And so that will be a very big space where we'll hopefully be able to have like 50 vendors. And so the idea of that is to really curate an experience in that city block, which I'm very excited about.
That's exciting. And that'll be next spring?
That's in the spring, yes. And then there's other, I'm talking with all kinds of people to kind of get things up and running for the spring, summer, fall of 2024 to 2024. It's really a busy time. It's a difficult time because you're kind of coming to the end of year. Everyone's kind of crazed. Nobody, but January 2nd, it's going to be busy and just marking the calendar. So if people are interested in finding out more and being part of those events, and even the gifting catalog or speakers too, which is something actually I haven't spoken about, the way that we push speakers out is a certain level of business owner would go into that space where they would go into organizations and share their product. It's mostly food area in this space where they can go in and do a tasting and they can talk about their business and how they've grown their business and where they're at and how they got into retail, et cetera, et cetera. So there's those opportunities as well. But the website is tradeandprosper.com. Our Instagram is at Trade Prosper, no and in it, just Trade Prosper. And the Facebook is at Trade and Prosper. So the and is there. The Instagram's the only place the and got removed. I don't know if somebody else had it. We couldn't get it. So
this is exciting. I am really excited about this. I hope we have viewers who are paying attention, because I know there's so many entrepreneurs out there that are making something or creating something that this, I think, would be a great platform for them to participate in. Real quickly before we go, I could not let you come on the show and not get the scoop on Cooper's Daughter Spirits. What is that? Tell us, please.
Well, that was another journey. I don't know how long we've got, Natalie, but I just wanted to say, that I was thinking about this earlier today about my professional journey. There's always, people use the expression, fake it till you make it. And I did use it. And actually, I've removed it from my
just working it out.
Well, because here's the thing I feel is that, in 30 odd years of being in business and sort of, like I said, starting as a creative and sort of building up a business mind and going into business, but staying in the creative space, you start to realize that, you build confidence, hopefully, and you think of yourself, okay, I don't know that space, but I can learn that space.
That's right.
And also the biggest thing for everybody in business is utilizing others around you, that you are not the expert at everything. So, you're the expert at something, and that you can build something around you with the people that you put with you to build it out. It's the most important thing. So Cooper's Daughter was a family business, or is a family business, I should say, that started about 7 years ago, up just outside of Hudson, New York, in a town called Claverack. And it was really the brainchild of my daughter, who was living upstate and had noticed that the laws had changed around craft distilling, so that you could actually buy a license to make alcohol very easily. And when I say very easily, within a budget. Like, it wasn't, if anybody who's listening has been in the liquor industry or owned a bar in Manhattan or they understand those licenses are astronomical. This was not that. But you did have to have a property that was classed as a farm to get the specific license, so, to be able to produce the product. So there were other, criterias around it. So my husband left his construction business, his restoration construction business, and went up there to pretty much restore the property to turn it into what it is today. And we've been producing for 6 years. 6 years. I found our distributor just before COVID, which was amazing. It's really what led me to Trade and Prosper. Trade and Prosper was happening, but it was very early stages at that point, and it was going in another direction. And being in the space of the makers with my own business was where I saw the gaps. I was the person standing at those events 3 days a week for many, many years, and meeting people and talking to people and meeting other business owners, and realizing and having the aha moment about where Trade and Prosper needed to go through the distillery.
Wow. I think that's quite exciting, and something that we may not really appreciate until we get a chance to see it. Where exactly is this distillery located?
Oh, it's located like just outside of Hudson, New York, in
Okay.
Claverack, and it's a very pretty spot. You can go and have cocktails on the property, and there's always some nice food trucks there, and you can also find our products in liquor stores. If you go to the website coopersdaughter.com, you'll see the list of retail outlets that carry the products, and and it's a gorgeous product. I did think about pouring myself a cocktail for the show tonight, but then I thought,
Oh no, this is the place. Listen, we did quarantine all throughout throughout the pandemic, and we toast and cheers. As a matter of fact, as I was sipping on water from being just so dry from flying today, I thought to myself, I wonder if the viewers think I'm drinking today.
that's funny. I should have sent you some, and then we could have done a cheers together.
There you go. We'll talk about that, because it sounds to me like there are so many opportunities for us to collaborate, work together, share information, and share you with others so that they can have opportunities. And I think this is an image of what some of your food tasters fair looks like.
Yeah, this is a wonderful chef called Dan Sabia. He was based in Westchester, and he's moved up to the Hudson Valley and Hudson itself. And his whole thing is cooking over open fire, like literally it's not a barbecue, it's like big fire. And he has storytells. Everything that he makes is bought from local farmers, local growers. Everything's super fresh. I mean, and he storytells through his cooking process when you're there eating his. It's amazing.
That's awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Living Life Authentically with Natalie B. McKenzie. Our guest today is Louise Newsome. She is the business director, or rather director of business for business development for Trade and Prosper. But more importantly, she is also the co-founder of Cooper's Daughter Spirits. And so she's got some food, she has the spirits, she has great stories to tell. Sounds to me like a perfect mix for Thanksgiving. We want to wish you all a happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy your family. Take a moment to enjoy your friends. And remember, sometimes the family you choose is oftentimes more pleasing than the family you were born into. So whatever it is you have and whomever you're celebrating with, we want to wish you love, joy, and a table of thanks and a spirit of giving. Now remember, in 2 weeks from today, when we come back after Thanksgiving, we are full speed ahead for the Whole Woman's annual fundraiser and toy drive at the Capitol Grill. Remember, we're raising money because we're supporting Never Alone Again, the Domestic Violence Resource Center, and we're getting toys so we can gift wrap them and deliver them to the children of incarcerated parents. This is our 10th year doing this. We want it to be more special than ever before. Louise, please come down and join us. Tell your friends, and we'd love to have everybody come out and join us. Make this once again another sold out event, but more importantly, help us to help those in need. I'm Natalie B. McKenzie, and I am your host. I wish you again a blessed Thanksgiving. I hope you have enough life to live, enough joy to give, enough love to share.